Russian Telegram channels are publishing videos allegedly showing a Ukrainian Flamingo missile flying over Moscow on the night of October 27. At that time, explosions were heard in the Russian capital, and Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin reported that a drone attack had been repelled. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the attack was the largest in recent times. The ministry stated that air defense forces had allegedly shot down 34 drones heading for Moscow. There is no confirmation that the Flamingo missile was used during the attack on Moscow. However, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that Ukraine has already used domestically produced Flamingo and Ruta missiles against the enemy. He said this while speaking with journalists. The head of state noted that both missiles had seen combat use. However, he did not provide any details. Zelenskyy emphasized that Ukraine is doing everything to ensure that these are not isolated uses of the missiles but significant ones. Explosions are also occurring in other Russian cities. For example, on the evening of October 22nd, explosions were heard in the Russian city of Kopeysk near Chelyabinsk. The incident occurred at a military plastics factory. According to official data, 13 people were killed at the facility. Local authorities claim that the cause of the incident was allegedly a violation of safety regulations. At the same time, local residents reported online about a drone attack.
Just now a guy came by from the plastics plant. He said he was all scraped up, covered in blood. He said that 3 drones flew in.
And on October 21st, the defense forces struck the Bryansk chemical plant. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the strike was carried out, among other things, with air-launched Storm Shadow missiles, which managed to penetrate the Russian air defense system. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated that Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region remains the main target for the Russians. As the head of state told journalists, about 200 occupiers have infiltrated the city. Zelenskyy noted that despite the enormous resources the aggressor country is deploying to capture Pokrovsk, all enemy attempts have been unsuccessful.
Just imagine how many Russian forces are there, yet they still haven't achieved their planned result. In my opinion, they currently do not have the kind of outcome they could present to the Americans.
The president added that the Russians have thrown all their forces at Pokrovsk because they are unable to take Kupiansk. He reported that over the past 6 months, Dobropilya and Pokrovsk have yielded 2,200 Russian prisoners, and their losses are much greater. Volodymyr Zelenskyy also spoke about how strikes by Ukrainian defense forces on oil refining facilities deep inside Russia have significantly impacted the aggressor country's economy. According to him, Russia has lost more than 20% of its oil refining capacity and up to 27% of its fuel production. The head of state noted that as a result of the strikes, several Russian oil refineries were damaged, forcing the occupiers to redistribute fuel volumes among other facilities. He also mentioned that sanctions imposed by United States President Donald Trump could reduce the Kremlin's revenues by about $5 billion per month and affect 56 to 57% of oil exports. Volodymyr Zelenskyy also commented on the possible peace negotiations. According to him, if the trilateral meeting brings a positive result for Ukraine and helps end the war, then it does not matter where it takes place, as long as it is not in Russia or Belarus. A video showing the aftermath of the strikes on the Belgorod Reservoir Dam has appeared online. The footage shows that water has started flooding the roads, which Russians used as logistical routes, and the occupiers' equipment is sinking in the swamp. The flooding of positions is being reported by the Russian soldiers themselves.
This is what the dub position looks like now. It's flooded. The water has overflowed the banks, covering the entire road. Flooding. Here the vehicle is standing in water. It stopped and can't get out.
The Belgorod Reservoir was attacked for the first time on the night of October 25th. At that time, local authorities claimed that the reservoir dam was allegedly attacked by HIMARS missiles. Later, the commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, Robert Brody Madhyar, confirmed that the Ukrainian armed forces struck the dam, as a result of which part of the Russian troops were cut off from supplies and crossings. Overall, the Ukrainian armed forces have achieved certain successes on the front line. On October 26, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed the liberation of 2 settlements in the Donbas, Kuchrov Yar and Sukhetskoye. Soon after, it became known that the defense forces had liberated another settlement, Zatishok. At the same time, the enemy continues active attacks in the Pokrovsk direction. As stated by the head of state, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, during a conversation with journalists, Pokrovsk remains the main target for the Russians. According to him, the occupiers have thrown all their forces there because they are unable to take Kupiansk. The president noted that the aggressor country continues to suffer enormous losses. In just half a year, 2,200 Russian soldiers were taken prisoner in Dobropilya and Pokrovsk.
The Russian economy is sinking into recession while Kremlin TV propagandists are seeing their personal incomes grow at unprecedented rates. Over the past 4 years, the salaries of Olga Skabeeva and Evgeny Popov have increased by 1.5 times. According to The Insider, the couple recently bought a house in the elite Novakovo settlement near Moscow on the Novorishskoye highway, an aristocratic location. That's how this elite settlement is described. As investigator Sergei Yezhov explained on the YouTube channel Popular Politics,
it's styled after classic Russian estates. And apparently this is something that feels genetically close to the Russian elite. So it seems, yes, Skabeeva and Popov now consider themselves part of a kind of aristocracy as well.
According to archived listings for the house, it was initially put up for sale for about 170 million rubles, but eventually the price dropped to 150 million. The house has 4 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom, a swimming pool, a kitchen dining room, a living room, an office, a laundry room, and a wood-fired sauna. This is the kind of property propagandists can afford. Olga Skabeeva's current salary is about 1,850,000 rubles per month. That's more than 22 million a year. The last time the couple's income was made public before this was in 2021. At that time, Skabeeva was earning 15,200,000. After that, information about the earnings of State Duma deputies' families, including Yevgeny Popov, was classified. Before the State Duma elections in 2021, Popov tried to hide his real income. But in the end, even the Moscow City Election Commission exposed the propagandist manipulations. Already as a deputy, Yevgeny Popov declared an income for the year 2001 of more than 18 million rubles. The last years of the war have also been profitable for him. Now, like his wife, he earns significantly more. From the Rossiya TV channel, he receives on average 1,300,000 per month. And his salary in the State Duma is about 500,000 per month, as well as periodic payments from the Zenani Society, where he is listed as a lecturer, and from the advertising agency Wild Jam.
The so-called work of these propagandists, whose job is simply to lie and spread hatred every day, is valued several times higher than even the work of legislators. That is, the people who write laws and press the buttons.
The Rossiya TV channel, which airs the Popov and Skabeeva show, is part of a state media holding. For the past 25 years, it has been headed by Oleg Dobrodev, who owns property worth millions. Dobrodev's official salary is relatively modest, about 700,000 rubles a month. However, he regularly receives payments of 15 million from the National Advertising Alliance. This company was established as a unified platform for selling TV advertising. The same scheme of receiving 15 million ruble payments several times a year from the National Advertising Alliance is also used by Channel 1's CEO, Konstantin Ernst. At the same time, his salary at Channel 1 is 850,000 rubles a month. But the CEO of NTV, Alexei Zemsky, is not so modest. Over the past year, he received an average of 17 million rubles per month from the channel, which is part of Gazprom's state media holding and survives on government subsidies. The collaborator Tatyana Montian has been added to the list of terrorists and extremists by the Russian Federation. This happened after reports against her from Alexander Matyushin, a militant of the so-called DPR, and propagandist Vladimir Solovyov, who accused her of stealing money collected for Russian soldiers.
I don't care about your worthless reports and certificates. That has nothing to do with me. That's a matter for the tax authorities, the money you receive and how it's spent. How are you any different from info gypsies? Is it because you help the front? Great. What percentage of the money goes to you and what percentage goes to the front? What kind of reporting do you do? What kind of organizational structure do you have?
And in the fact that she is trying to gain political influence.
Scumbags like Montian are trying to score political points off real problems with the water supply.
Solovyov also claimed that Montian insults the Kremlin's leader.
No, that's not how it is at all. Control over people is necessary, writes Montian. A takeover is being prepared. Hey, you who swore at my president, what are you doing in my country? Who brought you here, and in what capacity?
Montian was outraged at being included on the list of extremists and blamed the singer Shaman for it. According to her, it was all because she called him a talentless hack fighting for 16 million in fees. And she said that money could have been used to buy what the fighters at the front actually need. Montian added sarcastically,
For words like that, you can now be accused not only of fake extremism, but of something even more serious.
Montian began her career in Ukraine as a lawyer and human rights activist. In 2013, she spoke out against Euromaidan and supported the Russian Federation's aggression against Ukraine. And eventually she moved to Russia, where she became actively involved in anti-Ukrainian propaganda. It was reported that she bought real estate in Moscow, despite officially having no income.
It was reported that she bought real estate in Moscow, despite officially having no income. Treason? Absolutely.
With aggravating circumstances.
After Montian became the author of a Telegram channel specifically for RT in Ukraine in 2023, a case was opened against her for inciting the seizure of power.
About the claim that I'm supposedly pro-Russian. Where did you even get that idea, guys?
At the same time, already a citizen of the Russian Federation, Montian was criticized by Zoo. It is unknown where Montian is currently located. However, her blog continues to be updated.